Okay, guys, this is Awareness Day. We're going to learn something just in case you haven't been aware that there's so much plastic in the world. And just recently, there are organizations that are reducing plastic in their everyday business. And so today we're going to talk to Julie Sorensen of Plastic Oceans Foundation, and we're going to learn how we can be a part of the solution. So fasten your seatbelt. It's time to learn and grow together. And Julie, by the way, it's time to dance. I know it's early in the morning, but it's time to
early,
dance.
but
Everybody dances with me in the morning. Here we go.
very good. It's early here, but great.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, it's really good to dance. I forget to mention that. I don't know why.
It puts on that great surprise.
Sometimes I go like this. Okay, here we go.
This is the place you can always turn to when you need a friend. The Lillian McDermott Show. To reach out to Lillian, visit her on the web at whenyouneedafriend.com. Now let's all learn together. Here's Lillian McDermott.
Hello, my listening friend. It's so nice we can meet each other on the air on this beautiful, best day ever. And for those of you who have been loyal fans of the Lillian McDermott radio show, I am so grateful for you. And if you just happen to stumble upon the show today, I've been waiting for you. Let me tell you that the purpose of the show is to provide a safe place where you can go to when you need a friend. It is my commitment to provide alternative ways to heal, and it is my mission to make awareness, responsibility, and truth a part of our everyday life. And I hope you, my viewing as well as my listening friends, will feel empowered to embrace a new truth and live the life of your dreams. Now today, today, we are going to learn something new about plastic. As you know, there's a documentary out there, and I think I just recently talked about it in one of my shows. The documentary is called A Plastic Ocean. You must see it to believe it. Did you know that 8 million tons of plastic get dumped into our oceans each year? Have you ever wondered where single-use plastic goes to? How is your plastic processed in other areas of the world? How is it? What do they do with plastic? Do you know? After watching this documentary, I've made a commitment to start eliminating plastic from my life. As you know, I do a lot of glass. I even repurpose my glass jars from the grocery store. Hey, you pay $5 for a bottle of whatever, you might as well repurpose it and use it to store your food as opposed to putting it in a plastic baggie. So I've made a commitment, and not only have I made a commitment, but we've reached out to Plastic Oceans Foundation. And Julie Andersen is the executive director of Plastic Oceans Foundation. And she's going to share what they're doing to save our oceans and how we can be as helpful in any way as we possibly can. And since it is our sole purpose in life to give and receive love and knowledge, I am grateful that Julie Andersen is here to do just that. Welcome, Julie, to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
I'm thrilled. And so share a little bit. I mean, you have quite a background, but share a little bit about your story and what led you to this foundation.
Well, my background at this foundation, I've lived in Asia for 10 years prior to now living in Malibu. Mm-hmm. And while I was living in Hong Kong, I had met with the director, the adventurer, also the narrator who is found in the film A Plastic Ocean. His name is Craig Leeson. And he introduced me to the problem of plastic in Hong Kong and globally. And that's how I got involved. I had originally when living in Asia, you see the problem of plastic pollution all over, and you see the impact it's having everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that's how I started to get involved. And when I came to the US, I started the Plastic Oceans Foundation here in the US to really distribute and put that active, supportive activism behind the message of the film.
And so as you decided, okay, so here you are in Asia, and I think that things are so wonderful when we just stumble upon the truth, and so you're challenged to look at things a different way. What has been the most eye-opening thing for you that made you start the foundation in the US?
So and what we share with people, and the eye-opening aspect of plastic is something that it's completely incorporated into every aspect of our lives. We use plastic in everything from our daily routines to our long-term uses. And there was this belief that it's something that you can throw away. You can dispose of it, and it's out of sight, out of mind. It's going to disappear. And when it degrades, it's going to degrade back into the environment. And when I learned that it never goes away, plastic never goes away. So how can we continue to think about plastic as disposable if it never goes away? It only just breaks up into more harmful impact, with a more harmful impact on the environment. And that's where I thought, this is a message that we need to retell, and we need to rethink how we deal with plastic, because it's false. Our beliefs are false at this point.
Absolutely. And so as we are learning about this new truth, I want you, my listening as well as my viewing friends, to start thinking about all the different ways that we have plastic in our lives, that we just throw it away thinking that the plastic fairy is going to dispose of it, and that there's not going to be a consequence to what our choices are. So today, hopefully we can make a decision and learn a new truth about how plastic is a part of our lives and how it's affecting our environment. And we're going to continue our conversation with Julie Andersen when we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. Okay, everybody, this is going to be an exciting show. I did not know that we could do this, but we're going to be giving away the link. Is this forever, or is this a single use to watch it?
Single use to watch a rental.
One download. Okay. So the first 100 people. Yay. I hope we get that many wanting to see this, because some people don't care.
That's our part of our work. What we're doing here in Plastic Oceans is that we're sharing the story, because you can't care if you don't know.
Okay, here we go.
373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we always learn and grow with one another. And today's teacher is Julie Andersen. She is the executive director of Plastic Oceans Foundation. And I've got some great news for you. Be the first 100 caller or texters. So the first 100 callers or texters will get a copy, they'll get a link to watch one time this wonderful documentary. So if you text me at 407-373-5959 or call, remember, I'm not going to answer the phone. I'll need your email address, right, Julie? That's what I'm going to need.
Exactly.
So I will need for you to text me your email, or call me and give me your email address, or email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com. The first 100 people to respond to this call, which is the first 100 people, will get a link to see this DVD one time. Just send me your email address and I will forward it to Julie. And it's either you can email me at lily@whenyounneedafriend.com, or you can call or text me right now, starting right now, first 100 people, 407-373-5959. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen this documentary, it's very eye-opening. It's not just about the United States, it's what's happening globally. So let's talk about, Julie, what is happening globally? What can you tell us? Because when I saw those cities, that little town where the kids are playing over a heap of plastic and trash and all of that in this beautiful location, what's going on in the world that we need to be aware of?
As you mentioned earlier, they estimate approximately 8 million tons of plastic being dumped into the to the oceans. And I mean, this is an estimate that was created nearly 10 years ago. So we're probably double that. I
Yeah.
mean, and what that means, and it's probably a big number, 8 million tons of plastic in the oceans is a big number to imagine, but it's like a dump truck of trash being dumped every minute into the ocean. And it's of plastic.
For a whole year, for a whole year.
For a whole year, every minute, if you're having a dump truck, just back up and dump their contents in the ocean.
Who is dumping this? Who is dumping this trash?
And it's not, what it is that it is leaking from rivers, land-based sources. This is not just coastal regions that are dumping into the ocean. And predominantly, the majority of this trash is coming from Asia. India is the dominant sources from their rivers. And this is not to put blame on just Asia. I mean, these are countries that can't necessarily afford good waste management systems. We're fortunate enough to live in the US where we have better waste management. Mm-hmm. But it's to recognize that even though it is a big source of waste coming from Asia, that waste finds its way back over to our coastlines. We share the same water source, the same ocean. And that's why it is really our problem as a part of this global world, that, you know, it may be the waste and the plastic waste may be coming from Asia, but it is all of our responsibility to try to curb this pollution.
Well, one of the things that, this happened about 10 years ago, Julie. I heard a podcast with Dr. Bruce Lipton. I love Dr. Bruce Lipton. I don't know if you follow him, but he has been on the show a couple of times, world renowned, and he is so focused on epigenetics and what's happening in our world right now. And so one of the things he said, that if we continue with the use of plastic, and this I heard maybe 10 years ago, maybe less, he said in 30 to 40 years, we will not be able to eat from our oceans. We will not be able to eat fish. It will be polluted. So can you share a little bit about that and the validity of what he said?
Absolutely. So what is happening is plastic is being dumped into our oceans, and the sun, the currents, the salt water is breaking the plastic up. It's breaking them into smaller and smaller pieces, which we call microplastics. Mm-hmm. And these small microplastics, they act like sponges or magnets to other toxins. So there's industrial waste that we're also putting into our oceans. And those chemicals adhere to these smaller plastics and really are creating these poison pills. And these small little plastic pieces can be as small as microorganisms. So they're being eaten by the smallest of microorganisms. The shrimp are eating the small microorganisms. The squid are eating the shrimp. The tuna are eating the squid, and so on up the food chain. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that you have this poison pill of toxins, and once it's ingested into the fish, those chemicals migrate into the fatty tissue, the muscles that we eat. And it's the accumulation of those toxins that we need to be aware of. And what are the impact of those chemicals that are entering our food chain?
Okay, so what you're listening to right now, my listening and viewing friends, is Julie Andersen. She is the executive director of Plastic Oceans Foundation. The first 100 callers or texters, or you can email me. So the number is 407-373-5959. That's 407-373-5959. The first 100 callers or texters, you can also email me, will receive a link to view this documentary. It is so powerful that it's made me rethink plastic. As a matter of fact, the hashtag that they've created, the campaign that they've created, is hashtag rethink plastic. And, you know, we were told that plastic was disposable, Julie, and that, glass, glass has lead, or glass is not good for you. Glass lasts forever unless you drop it on the floor, which I frequently do sometimes. So let's talk about what's happening in the U.S. We talked about Asia and India. And to me, for me, if I were driving around or listening to this for the first time, I think, okay, well, that's their problem. But it's not. It's our problem too. So what's happening in the United States that's aggravating the issues with India and Asia?
Absolutely. I mean, consume a lot in America. In the US, we are consumers. We dispose, we create and demand the production of all of these disposable items. And so we are very much a part of the disposable culture, the disposable lifestyles that perpetuate the waste accumulation that we have. Mm-hmm. And it is recognizing part of the Rethink Plastic campaign is what can we use and reuse? How can we reduce the amount of waste that we're creating and reuse things more so that we're not throwing away so many items? Like you said, I mean, glass is, it lasts a much longer time. And it's about that reusability that reduces your overall consumption and waste. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately what we're aiming to do.
Well, you know, originally it was like, okay, we use plastic, it's cheaper. But really, when we reuse glass, we don't have to make more glass. I mean, if we like, I used to throw away so much stuff and mindlessly just throw things that are recyclable in the trash. And I happen to know of a company in Brevard County, as a matter of fact, that goes through trash and takes out the recyclables. So, you know, there's even a group of people doing that. It's a stinky job, but somebody's doing it out there. But it's really up to us. What are some of the things that our lack of awareness with plastic? Now, you talked about the fish eating the shrimp that have consumed the microplastics. What's happening to the fish, and what happens to us when we eat this fish?
Well, there's twofold. There's the animals that are eating the plastic. There's different sizes of the plastic, but there are up to 100 million marine animals that are dying because of marine plastic debris. Mm-hmm. So whether it's they're getting entangled in the nets, whether they're ingesting plastic bits that are filling their stomachs that ultimately prevent real nutrition from getting in them, they are suffering. Animals are suffering from the actual waste that we're putting into the ocean. Mm-hmm. And then on the second fold of where it's actually getting into our food chain to where we're eating and ingesting these chemicals, there's such a wide array of chemicals that are found in plastic. And there's such a wide array of industrial chemicals that are adhering to these plastics that are getting into the food chain. One of the chemical components that people have probably heard of is BPA. Mm-hmm. And we have phased that out. That is one of dozens of chemicals that get into our system that actually have a negative impact on our growth cycle, our neurological development, the endocrine system. And so Sure. It's actually how we develop, how our kids are developing. And it took that awareness to start pulling BPA out of plastic use. But there are dozens of other chemicals that we have to fight against. And when you bring up, you brought up use of glass, the thing about glass and aluminum, there's less chemicals used in them. There are more pure substance, whereas plastic has such a wide array of chemicals used to give them their properties. So the chemicals used for plastic to give them the different textures, there's hard plastic, there's really, really soft plastic, there's the saran wrap plastic. Those all require different amounts of chemicals to give them those properties. And those chemicals are the ones that we have to be really afraid of, because we don't know all of their impact on our growth, our kids, our water systems. We're learning that as we go. So why wait 50 years to find out, we should have stopped 50 years ago?
Well, it is a little scary because, we've become so dependent on the plastic wraps and the plastic bags, so what are some of the things that we can become aware that we can make a slight little shift? Like, for example, like I said earlier, and what I say earlier is that I'm using glass as opposed to, and recycling my glass jars that I buy in the grocery store. It's just, what's the point of, why not use it? I mean, we buy these beautiful Tupperware glass containers with the cover on there. That looks just pretty. Maybe when you're going to a party, you can use those. But when you're storing your own food in your own refrigerator, why not use something that you've already paid for with food that was there before? So I want to encourage you, my listeners and viewers, the first 100 callers or texters, will get a single view a link to this DVD that we're talking about. A Plastic Ocean is the name of the documentary. So if you send it to 407-373-5959, call or text, you owe it to yourself to learn this new truth, because we know when we put things in the trash can that it's going somewhere. What are the side effects? What are the health risks for just being careless about it? And I know that we have a little time. Can you give us dip our toe into the health risks that we're seeing now in the United States because of this?
The health risks that we're seeing is that, as I mentioned earlier, there's the impact that some of the chemicals are impacting the endocrine system, and the endocrine system is what regulates our hormones, regulates those functions within our body. And the impact on that is so great, because even this research now, what are those implications? And hormones completely regulate our body. And if we are ingesting chemicals that are now mimicking those hormones, what are we doing for our children and their growth development, their neurological development as a result?
Yes. And again, we are all one. I say this a long time. What's happening to you is happening to me. What's happening in Asia, what's happening in India is affecting us as well, because what's happening with us is affecting them. So be the first 100 callers or texter, 407-373-5959, and get a viewing of this documentary. When we return worldwide at whenyounneedafriend.com, we'll be right here waiting for you. That is very generous, Julie, to give the first 100 callers or texters. And I hope that people are interested, because we hear about these things and we turn the blind eye.
Mm-hmm.
I know the BPA. And I also know the background with BPA is once it was passed and they said, okay, we'll no longer use BPA products, or we'll label it if it has BPA. But they changed the name. They changed it to, was it BPS or something like that?
They just modified the chemical structure of it so that it's different, and therefore it's a loophole in the policy, right? And like I said, there's dozens of other chemicals that we are not fully aware of their health impact, but we know that you wouldn't eat it, you wouldn't ingest it on alone. And these are chemicals in a plant that, would you eat them? Would you feed them to your child or your pet? You probably wouldn't. And why are we adding it to our packaging where we put our food, that we do ingest? Knowing that they are leaching chemicals.
And we haven't even talked about the birds in the documentary. I'd like to go back and forth with the documentary. And you know, what really, first of all, when I was looking at the scientists doing the autopsies on the dead birds and the fish that were out there, they were using their bare hands. Do they not have plastic gloves? It's like, where are these gloves?
And that is one of the component, is the fact that she doesn't want to continue to use hundreds of gloves a day doing what she's doing, only to add back into the system that she's trying to prevent.
Get some gloves that are like a little bit more
it is disturbing. I remember the first time I saw that, and surely there's a better way.
Yeah, I mean, my doctor doesn't even touch me without gloves. Finding a dead animal, and the number of plastic. And so every time the documentary would show this, I'd go, there's got to be a different way to do an autopsy on these animals, because I'm concerned, because I know our skin, our pores will absorb whatever is leaching into the birds. It'll leach into our hands. And, you know, we're concerned about the bird, but we're not concerned about our bodies. So I just wanted to give you that.
No, 100. I completely agree. I remember I had the same exact reaction.
Did you go, hey? It reminds me, because I'm much older than you, but it reminded me of Rosanna Dana from Saturday Night Live. I don't know if you remember Gilda Radner.
Gardner? No.
Gilmore? No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know who you're talking about.
Gilda Radner. And she used to play a character called Rosanna Dana. And she would say to the guy that was in front of that, smelled like New Jersey. That's what she would say. He smelled like it. And be, hey, are you trying to make me sick? And so that's how I felt like, what? You're trying to make me sick? It was so, I had to go teeter back and forth with the hygienic part of it. And I realized either she's trying to prove a point that you don't use disposable gloves, but wear a pair of something, protect your body
Yes.
again, because you really don't know what you don't know. And that's what, we talk about on the show is the things we don't know. I want to increase the things we know we don't know. There are things that we know we don't know, or the things that we know, but the things we don't know, we need to increase that to
Because you
people.
cannot, without knowing, how can anybody care?
That's
I mean,
right.
you cannot blame anyone for not caring or not doing something unless they know. So that's why there's such a heavy component on education and awareness building.
Yes.
And what you're bringing to the table and what we're trying to bring to others to share this story, to share the information so that people, they can make the decision then once they know whether they want to take part in
yes
caring or not caring, but
yes.
knowing.
Yeah, you kind of like froze there for a second. So, hey Brian, be ready with the F for frozen. If she freezes, we can make sure she's aware that that's happened. Okay, so we're about to get started. This is where I talk about my website and how to get a hold of me, and then I'll reintroduce you. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You can text Lillian McDermott or leave her a voicemail at 407-373-5959. Once again, here's Lillian.
Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott radio show, where we can be heard worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. I know that we have followers all over the world. So when I say we are worldwide, I am thrilled to say that we are, honestly, in every place in the world. At least once my show has been heard. And I want to encourage you to share this good news, how we can be a part of the solution. I just wrote this article for Florida Today called I Am the Solution. And I want to make sure that we take that 100% responsibility view of the fact that we can make a difference. The problem with plastic seems beyond larger than what one person can do. But if we all join together and do one small thing, can you imagine the big that could happen? Be the first 100 callers or texter. Make sure you text me your email address. I'm loving all the texts. I'm loving all the calls. But make sure that you include your email address so that we can set up the links for you so that you can go visit. The first 100 callers or texters can, or if you want to email me at lily@whenyouneedafriend.com. If you're at work and you're listening at work and you just want to email me, it's Lily, Lilly, @whenyouneedafriend.com. First 100 callers or texter will get to watch this DVD. It's called A Plastic Ocean, and it is very powerful. It will make you aware. What's the point? What is the point of wanting to live a responsible life when we're just thinking about ourselves? What happens to you happens to me. What happens in India, what happens in Asia is affecting us today. So what can we do about it? We are talking about that today. And once you watch this video, this documentary, you too will want to do your small part. Everybody put together can do something small. Maybe you're not the one that does the big things like the Plastic Oceans Foundation. They're working at making this awareness occur, and they're here on the show, waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to be on the show. And that's quite a passion. And so I'm so grateful. And I want to encourage you, my listening friends, to go to whenyouneedafriend.com, become a subscriber, tell all your friends to become subscribers. While you're in the website, make sure that you are a part of this conversation 24/7. And by clicking on some of the buttons, YouTube, we're having some conversations off the air that we do not have on the air. So I want to encourage you that if you want to watch us on YouTube, go to whenyouneedafriend.com. You can subscribe. If you subscribe to the website and the YouTube channel, it gets sent to you. So you don't have to go looking for it. It's right there, convenient. And you also get my 90-day challenge to self-love ebook. So lots of gifts when you become a subscriber, when you join this 100% responsibility movement. And then also while you're there, I want to encourage you to check out my sponsors. Without my sponsors, this show would not happen. I'm so grateful to them. So go check out my new sponsors, my old sponsors, and figure out ways that you can support them the way they're supporting us. And so I also want to share with you that I'm now on Stitcher. I am on iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and now Stitcher. So make sure you start getting people excited about listening to the show if they can't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning or at any time. You know, we're heard at 8, noon, and 5 on Eastern time. And so I want to encourage you to help me grow the show as well. Today, we have the executive director of Plastic Oceans Foundation. Her name is Julie Andersen. And she created this foundation in the United States because she saw, after living in Asia, that the problem and what a wonderful, fortunate event, Julie, to have stumbled upon Craig to share this information with you. Did you believe him at first?
I did, well, because he was my friend, but I also, one of the stories that when I was living there, and this is also in the film, there was a typhoon, and during this typhoon, big storms, big winds, there was a cargo ship. It's an oil company, and it was carrying pre-production pellets.
Oh,
so what they are, they're called nurdles, but they're little tiny beads of plastic. And these are they call them pre-production pellets because this is the plastic that's melted down to make all other plastics. Mm-hmm. And this cargo ship was carrying millions and millions and millions of these beads in mm-hmm. these bags, and labeled with Sinopec oil company and the Chinese oil company. And during this typhoon, this ship was tipped over and all of its contents spread. And so you have these small white plastic production pellets littering the bottom of the sea, but they were also washing up onto the shore. And I lived not that far from there, and I actually saw this, and it truly looked like snow on the coastline there. And what was mind-boggling to me, I thought, oh, surely they're going to go clean it up like an oil spill. But then I learned that because plastic is not considered hazardous material or toxic, the oil company has no responsibility to clean this up. Wow. It's considered, well, it's not hazardous. If it was an oil spill, it would have been their responsibility to clean up.
But isn't there like petroleum in plastic?
Plastic is 30% of plastic is oil. Close to 70 million gallons of oil is used for the single-use plastics in the U.S. alone. Wow! And that's what's incredible, to know that this substance that makes up a good majority of this product is considered hazardous in most conditions, but yet not considered hazardous once it's turned into plastic and something that we wrap our food in, and knowingly it leaches chemicals and leaches the negative properties of.
Wow. And it's in the bottom because, with petroleum, it probably stays in the surface, right? But these plastic pellets have made it to the bottom of the ocean floor.
Exactly. And half the single-use plastics that we use actually make their way to the ocean floor, where we will never be able to reach. We can be hopeful that we can add something in there, but really the focus needs to be, we need to stop putting it into our water systems, stop putting it into our oceans. And I love the fact that, there is no small change. I love the fact that you bring up, each individual holds that power to change. And it's recognizing that change that we have. And, back to the Hong Kong, the spill, when these nurdles spilt all over the coastline, it was really the local people that started it. So one individual said, this is terrible, put out a Facebook blog, we need anybody to come out and help. People came out, developed unique ways of separating the sand from the nurdles. It was the ingenuity of individuals, and it was the power of bringing everybody together that cleaned up that mess. It wasn't
what was visible, that which is wonderful and admirable. But there's so much. And so what we're saying is that if we stop using products with plastic, if we start demanding that they use glass or what are other options that we have? And before you answer that, I want to encourage everybody who's listening to my voice today, if you call or text 407-373-5959. The first 100 callers or texter will get a viewing of this documentary. And all you have to do is text me or call me with your email address, and we will get this viewing for you in your home so that you can become aware too what plastic is doing to our life. So go ahead and share.
There's a lot of ways we can make changes in our lives. Our first thing is we want to eradicate single-use plastic. Mm-hmm. Single-use plastics they're reusables. I think we need to start thinking reusable and not disposable. Mm-hmm. And the biggest 50% of plastic is single use. So your coffee cups from Starbucks or any other coffee place, use a coffee mug, reusable coffee mugs. Try to not use the straw, drink from the glass, bring your own containers, your water bottles to replace water bottles. Bringing your own reusable grocery bags to the store to stop using plastic bags. And these items, by just eradicating those, would reduce people. The estimates are up to 30% of single-use plastic by just replacing with reusable
tiny
items.
Little things. I pick up so many straws at the beach. Yeah, exactly. And so here's one thing that women and men need to know, that when you drink out of straws, that's going to create wrinkles around your mouth. So if you want a beauty tip from Lillian McDermott, right there, if you stop using straws, your mouth will look much beautiful than as you get older, than if you'll look like a smoker if you keep using. So no, not that I'm trying to cut down smokers, but I'm just saying that it causes you to bring your mouth in a certain way that you would if you were drinking from there. So the first 100 callers or texters to text me or call me 407-373-5959. Send me your email address, and we will send you a copy of a single-use viewing, a single view of a plastic oceans. And so today we are talking with Julie Andersen of a Plastic Oceans Foundation. And what we're learning today is how one thing that we can do today, make a commitment to do one thing. And hopefully that this will make a big change globally as well. And we're going to continue our conversation with Julie Andersen of Plastic Oceans Foundation when we return worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. We'll be right here waiting for you. It's amazing, Julie. You talked about these different things, but what about Ziploc bags? Oh my God, they're so easy to use. You just throw it in there. I've been using my jars, but sometimes when you just have this tiny thing, you just don't want to put a whole jar and just put a couple of things, and then I'll use it. And every time I use it now, I think, man, I don't want to use this anymore. And I even bought parchment paper so that I could cover my things. What are some of the other tips that you can give for?
It's probably not as easy, but you can get it on Amazon, is the beeswax paper that wraps, and it's reusable in the sense you can rinse it. What I find amazing about the beeswax paper, it actually keeps all your food fresher. And
really?
Yes. And so if you wrap cheese that you haven't eaten, it actually will stay a lot longer because there's natural antibiotic properties in beeswax.
Wow.
So it actually will keep your food longer. And I used to saran wrap vegetables or plastic wrap, but I actually now use linen cloths, like a linen napkin, and it actually keeps your vegetables a lot fresher because it allows them to breathe a lot better. Whereas plastic won't let them breathe. The moisture gets trapped in there. Your lettuce will wilt faster. Your beans things will get moldier faster because it does trap the moisture. So in terms of the longevity of your food and food preservation, using lint cloth and using beeswax and other just coverings. And
so when you say lint cloth, what is that?
Linen. Yes. So cotton cloths or cotton napkins that you have, I just wrap them.
You know what? I use my regular napkins. I have table settings with different colors and napkins and all that. And I said to my husband, that's it. We've been using our regular linens for our napkins to eat, and very rarely are we using the paper one.
Exactly.
We've been talking about plastic, but there was other stuff like paper and towels and all of that. I mean, I pick up all that kind of trash in the beach where when I walk, and the straws, well, I also pick up stuff from Cuba. You can tell that it's from
Absolutely.
Cuba, and it's
Exactly.
plastic, and it's sad because when I was made aware of the little nanoparticles, the microplastics that were, being consumed by the fish, it made me, as I walk on the beach, I actually look for the tiny little things as well. I will bend over if I see something blue or something red or something yellow. I know that it doesn't belong in nature,
Exactly.
not on the
Exactly.
sand. So, other tips that you can give. How much time do we have, Brian? Hey, Brian's not around. Brian, I need you, Brian. Okay, go ahead. We'll just keep talking until.
And absolutely, there's so many of these. When you talk about waste, really, that's what we need to be aware of. It's not an out of sight, out of mind. It's all waste. It's all of our consumption. It's just that it happens to be that 80-90% of the waste that we use now is plastic.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's kind of overwhelming with the amount of plastic that we use. And you mentioned it is such a habit for us, right? It's convenient, and who
It
wants to
is.
give it? It's a lot easier for me to cuddle up and watch Netflix than go to the gym. It's habits, and it's recognizing the things that are becoming inconvenient habits, but they're good for us.
That's right. That's
And
right.
making those differences, and
That's
just
right.
starting with feeling a little bit of guilt and maybe putting it into the glass jar versus the plastic bag.
Here we go. I think we're getting started.
Oh, we're getting
Yep.
there. We go.
Here you go. Welcome back to the Lillian McDermott Radio Show, where we are talking with Julie Andersen. She is the executive director of the United States chapter of Plastic Oceans Foundation. And so today, if you are listening to my voice, whether it's YouTube or you're listening through the radio or podcast, if you are the first 100 people to call, text me, 407-373-5959. I will need your email address to make it easy for us to coordinate all of this. And also you can email me if you don't have the ability to text or call. The email address, you can email me at Lily, that's Lilly, at whenyouneedafriend.com. And so today, let's make a decision to do one thing, just one thing. And then when you watch this documentary, you'll probably want to do more than one thing. So little by little, Julie's been giving us some tips, some products that we could use that do not harm our food or harm our environment. One of the things that I wanted to touch upon, and I was sharing with Julie, I wanted to talk, this was like the previous segment off the air, we were talking about the birds that are eating some of these microplastics as well, that are dying all over the world. And we need our animals. We need our animals. And we're killing our animals. So share a little bit in the documentary some of the discoveries that they've made with these microplastics in all the animals, not just the fish.
Absolutely. And it's so critical. Like the animals in the oceans and the marine animals, they maintain the ecosystem that provides our food sources as well as the oxygen. I mean, we receive half our oxygen from the ocean, and we need the ecosystem within the ocean so that we can survive. Mm-hmm. And as I said, 100 million marine animals die each year because of plastic debris. And what it is that when we're talking about the birds, is that the birds are going out collecting, eating food. They can't see the difference between bags and little bits of what look like squid or look like squid particles, little fish. They're ingesting the small microplastics, which are sitting in their stomachs. Yeah. They just can't pass those plastics. Mm-mm. And it starts to fill up their bellies where they cannot ingest any real food for themselves for nutrition. And then they end up starving to death in this very sad way. And then there's the one image in the film where the bird is only 90 days old. Yeah. And it is accumulated enough plastic in its belly to make up 15% of its body weight in only 90 days. It's a baby, and it's still, how can we actually populate and then have more animals if they're dying off before they can even reach 90 days old?
Absolutely. And so, that was a part of the documentary that was really hard to watch, is to see all the plastic pieces that they're counting out of the stomachs and the intestines of these animals that died prematurely. We just need to be aware that everything we do has consequences, everything we do. And so if we do things that will enhance our bodies, and that this is something good for us, just look at beyond that. Look at, what kind of packaging it has? How are you disposing of this? And, instead of just dumping it in the trash can, are there recycling centers near you? It is about convenience. Now, in the news, we've been hearing more and more about the straws, and how Starbucks has making, or is it McDonald's that is making Starbucks that is making a claim that by 2020 they will not have any straws. But of course, there's the little stirs, and there's all these little different things that how are you guys making an impact with your foundation, and how can we help you continue to make an impact?
Well, and we are one city at a time. We are banning these plastics, and we are encouraging. We need people from each community to get on board and support our work that we're pushing in city halls, and get push forward these bans on plastic that we just don't need, single-use plastics that we don't need. Here in Malibu, we've recently banned single-use plastics, straws, utensils, and it just happened. There was all the restaurants were, how are we going to survive without plastic straws and utensils? It happened, and it became a new habit as soon as.
Yeah. And don't you think it would be cheaper? Isn't it cheaper to just have somebody wash the utensils?
Exactly. Or what happens is you just don't need the straw. You start to realize, don't get into the habit of putting it in. I mean, I talked to bartenders, and I would say, why do you always put the straw in? He's like, oh, it's just habit. They'll throw in 2 straws.
Yeah.
It's habit for them too. So it's educating them to break that habit that they've gotten used to. And you really don't need it. You can drink out of a cup. That's what we train our kids to do. We can do it.
And it's good for our microbiome too. When you're drinking and you put it in your mouth, when you drink juice, when you drink water, it's good to get the enzymes activated in the mouth. Digestion begins in the mouth. So if we're drinking it through a straw, it's bypassing those enzymes. So it makes a lot of sense for our body as well to get off all these different bad habits that we've established in our life and change it a bit. And so what else do you need from us? What else?
And we also connection. So the foundation over there, it's plasticoceans.org, and we always provide different types of solutions, tips for individuals, but we focus on 3 different things: educating the youth, educating students, and getting them involved in social entrepreneurship. It's really changing the next generation so they don't fall into the same habits that we are deeply involved in, but we're changing their habits and educating the young students. So any introductions to schools, bringing our education program. We have student-focused, student-appropriate videos, short videos for them. So any introductions, that's what we're looking to really spread the word across the country. And then 2, it is industries. We're always looking for companies that want to try to improve their process and their relationship with plastic. They may want to reduce their plastic packaging. We create different milestones and hold them accountable for reaching those milestones. If you're going to reduce your plastic packaging, then do it. If you're going to do it by the end of the year, we're going to hold you responsible for meeting that goal. And so introductions to different companies that want to try to make a difference, and we want to highlight all of their changes are important. And so we want to really emphasize that. So any introductions to companies. And finally, the one thing that we do, and please go to plasticoceans.org to learn about what you can do to be a conscious consumer. If you have the choice to buy something that's recycled, that's made out of recycled packaging versus new virgin plastic, buy the recycled one, and that's the difference. Create the economy that keeps recyclable materials in the system rather than constantly producing something brand new, throwing it away, brand new, throwing it away, because we're living it. We're going to be buried in our own waste.
We are, and we're doing that. So I want to encourage you, if you're listening to my voice, you're seeing this video, if first 100 callers, texters, viewers, just send me your email address and we'll hook you up so that you can watch Plastic Oceans. It's a wonderful documentary. Again, the website for Plastic Oceans Foundation is plasticoceans.org. The documentary is called A Plastic Ocean, and that is what we'll be sending you a link so that you can watch it. Once you watch this documentary, you can't unlearn the truth. It is a new truth about the awareness of where our trash goes. Where do our plastics go? What can we do within the home? And I love that what you guys are doing at plasticoceans.org, where you're teaching our youth and how to become more conscious of this. Has this been something that's been embraced more in California than in other places?
Yeah, this is a program that people around the U.S. as well as around the globe, you're seeing students take real initiative. They recognize the power that they can just do it. They don't have to overthink it. They are going out, raising money to put refill stations into their schools, banning plastics in their schools. And everybody can do this.
Well, I am so grateful to you, Julie. Thank you so much. I am excited for all of us to watch the documentary, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation. And to you, my listening friends, let's all do something big or small. It all adds up. Please remember, I'll be right here waiting for you worldwide at whenyouneedafriend.com. This is Lillian McDermott wishing you love, peace, joy, and unexpected abundance. Make it the best day ever. Good job. Okay.
Thanks so much.
But just at the second, we did it there. Thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that you have not shared yet before we close the
No, I think it's fantastic. Come visit plasticoceans.org. Every idea, we need everybody's input. This is a big global problem, so everybody who comes in and shares their ideas are welcomed. Each of us hold the power to change.
That's right. Thank you so much. Together we can make a difference. Alone,
for sure.
Maybe not so much. We might feel, but together we can make a big change. So thank you so much, Julie. And anytime that you need a friend in the show, just give us a call. And we'd love to have Craig on the show as well. He did such a great job. He did such a great job narrating it. So credible and so compassionate at the same time. So I'm looking forward to getting more people involved in this.
No, we'll definitely arrange that when he gets off the Swiss Alps. Is
that what he is? Is that what he is?
Yes. So we'll definitely arrange that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. And I look forward to seeing you again. Bye.